I show you how I cook kale. One of many ways to cook it. I'll talk about different options, but just a really simple way to cook kale. I hear from a lot of people, people commenting on my videos and various garden clubs that I might do talks with. And there's always someone that puts up their hands and says, I don't like kale. And that's fine if you don't like it, but honestly I think a lot of people just don't know how to cook it or what to do with it. The grocery store, they either sell it as a leaf like this, or they sell it in a bag with another bag of stuff you put on it. So as a salad, I think a lot of people try to make a kale salad and they don't like the kale salad that they make with the kale they've grown. And I think the kale that is picked for a kale salad, it's young, it's very tender, it's a variety chosen just for that. Picked at a certain time for that. Whereas a lot of the different kales that you might grow, they're not necessarily good for a salad. They're a kind of kale you might want to cook. And that's how all the kale I grow it for cooking. So today I'm going to show you a really simple way to cook it. Tastes good. Both my kids will eat it. I mean, I got young kids, 8 and 10 years old. If kids will eat it, I think most people will like it. So let's have a go here. So I got 8-inch chef's knife, cutting board. Got some garlic. I got some bacon. If you're a vegetarian or vegan, just don't use bacon. Use something else. Maybe sun-dried tomatoes, or something savory, to mushrooms maybe, or there's different options you can use for that. But I use bacon. It's a good way to. It's like a good crossover drug, right? You put a little bit of bacon in with the kale, and people will like the kale. And trust me, I'm using one slice of bacon. That's it, right? That's all you really need to accentuate the overall flavor of the dish. And there's other things you can do as well in the absence of that, right? But anyway, we're just going to speak to that technique today. So I got those things, and I got some kale. So I got the pan heating up on the oven there. You want the, I've got one of those dials that goes up to 10. I have it around 6 or 7. 7. So the first thing you want to do is get some of your garlic. I like to use about 3 cloves about this size, right? And these are garlic I grew in my garden. If you're not growing your own garlic, watch some of my videos on garlic and start growing your own garlic. It's really easy to do. There is a sort of a time limit. You gotta plant it in the fall, and it comes. You can start harvesting it in August. Yeah, it's just a great thing to plant, and it keeps really well. And all you do is you dry them out a bit and stick them in a cardboard box, and take them as you need them. I got a box full of kale in my garage, and I just take 2 or 3 every week and use them. All right, so there's our kale, and just cut it up as fine as you can get it. Sorry, not kale, garlic. There's our garlic. I got cut it up as fine as you can get it. Oh, see a peel there. You don't need one of those garlic peeler things. That's totally useless kitchen tool in my opinion. Get a decent knife. This is like a $20 knife. Get it sharpened and learn how to use it. All right, so we got our garlic. We're going to put 3 things in at the same time. The garlic, kale stems. You don't have to use the kale stems, but geez, you grew them, or if you're buying this at a grocery store, you paid for them, right? So they take the kale stems take longer than the greens, so you want to put them in earlier. And they'll also keep your garlic from burning, right? So you cut them up fairly fine so they'll cook quickly. And this whole thing cooks up pretty quick, maybe 5 minutes in total. So just cut those up. Alright, we got our stems, and we get 1 slice of bacon. It's 2 pieces here, but it's 1 slice. All right. Okay. Hey, it's 2! No, it's 1 slice cut in half. All right. I just cut that up nice and fine. almost like bacon bits, you know, like you could add bacon bits to a salad. And you don't need to do this. And in the summer, so I pulled this kale out of my garden this morning. It's December 1st and it's getting cold here, and geez, last week it was like -20 Celsius with the wind chill. But in the summer I've got kale and Swiss chard, and I find if you combine kale with Swiss chard like 50-50, using the exact everything I'm doing here, you don't need the bacon. There's something about kale and Swiss chard, they go really, really well together. So I found myself using bacon less in the summer because I got those two things. But this time of year I find a slice of bacon really adds a lot of savory flavor to this. Again, if you're a vegan or vegetarian, just use something else. Alright, so we got everything cut up here. Let's go over to the oven. I got my pan's nice and hot, so let's get going. Alright, so this is just a cast iron pan, and put the bacon in first and just move it around a little bit. Sort of like to get some, you know, if you're not using bacon, you're going to have to use a tablespoon of olive oil, or you know, whatever fat you like, whatever kind of oil you like, right? There's just like this is a cast iron pan, so it's constantly oiled, so there was a little bit of oil here from a previous meal, to be honest. If you want to know about cast iron pans, put the comment in the comment section. I'll do a whole video on cast iron pans. Honestly, if you have a cast iron pan, you never need another pan in your life. And then, you see anything sticking here? Nothing sticks, right? If you know how to use one of these things, nothing sticks, and it'll last your entire life. Now, most of the time I do this in a wok, but today I just had the cast iron pan on, so I thought I'd use this. It's also good to see, right? But most of the time I actually do this in a wok. Alright, so those are starting to shrink a little bit, so now I can add the other stuff. Basically, I just cooked this until some of the fat came out of it, right? It's starting to shrink a bit, which means I've got some of that fat going, so I got enough fat to cook this thing. Put all this stuff in. Now at this stage, you want to add seasonings. You want to add a couple pinches of salt. We're on a low salt diet, don't use so much. And you can use pepper. I'm going to use some crushed chili peppers. I buy them whole and just run them through a coffee grinder. One pinch is, for most people, the right amount of heat for this amount. You basically have like a salad bowl's worth of greens. If you like it hotter, make it hotter. If you don't like it hot, don't use so much. Alright, so we got that going. I'm going to put a lid on this and just let it work for a couple minutes while I cut up the greens. This lid doesn't fit, but it doesn't have to. Close enough, right? Alright, let's just set the timer here. And I'll move the camera over and cut up my greens. Move the cutting board in nice and close so you can see what I'm doing here. So I got a bunch of kale that I just got out of the garden this morning. It's all been washed. I pulled the stems off, the leaves off the main stems. And it's helpful to have an extra bowl. Let's use this thing here. That way you're not laying stuff on the counter. You just grab it in a bunch and sort of, you know, gather it into a ball like this. And just cut it like that. That's all you got to do. Put that in there. Remember, your thicker, heavy stems are already cooking. They're going to get tender. They don't take long. You'd be surprised how fast this cooks. I mean, 1 or 2 minutes is all you really need. You don't want to cook it too much because it's healthier if it's just barely cooked, right? A lot of the vitamins and good stuff in here are destabilized by too much cooking. Also, you want it to be, you know, not too soft. You know, just right. You want it cooked just right. Okay, so we're doing all this while it's cooking, so it doesn't have to be a big production. Ordinarily, I would, this whole production, I would be washing the kale during that process. Okay, the timer just went off and we've got our kale cut, so we can go back to the oven. Okay, so we take off the lid here. Smells good, looks good. Not a lot of liquid there. I mean, this has been washed, there's some water in it, so it's basically all the water you need. I'm just going to put that in. Going to add another dash of salt. I'm going to put that lid on nice and tight. Set the timer for 2 minutes. Now, I'm cooking it one way here, but sometimes instead of using bacon, I'll use like a sesame seed oil and a little bit of soy sauce and do it that way, right? It's just a different kind of flavor. The sesame seed oil is a good, you know, if you don't eat pork or meat or whatever, it's a wonderful flavor enhancer to add to things if you're missing that, you know, what meat tends to bring to a kale. Anyway, I'm gonna come back in a minute when this is done this stage. Okay, that's been about 2 minutes, so it's handy to use tongs at this stage. So that's been in there 2 minutes. And I'm just gonna toss it around a little bit with some tongs and get all those garlic and bacon and everything intermingled in with the kale. Like that. Getting all the flavors combined. There we go. And I'll put the lid on for 1 more minute and it'll be done. I might even turn that down a notch there. Turn it down to 5. Right, that's been a minute. You notice it has this nice, really nice green color now, and it's soft, and that's all the cooking that's needed. Basically 3 minutes of the leaves, right? That's all it takes to cook that. So I'm going to take that off the heat. Okay, there we go. There's our kale. I'll give you a look at that. Beautiful, hot, delicious. The smell. Oh, it smells good. Let's just put that on a plate here so you can have a better look at it. But the green, you know, it's just so green, and you know, a lot of people seem to be against cooking with salt. And I think if you buy a lot of processed food, you should probably stay away from using salt. But if you cook all your food from scratch, you're controlling the salt. So it's a different game if you're cooking your own food. If you're buying processed food, it's all loaded with salt, because they can go cheap on the ingredients and load it full of salt and it'll taste good to you. Anyway, here we go. Beautiful plate of kale, ready to eat. Hope you found it interesting, and if you did, please like, share, subscribe, and all that good stuff. And if you haven't tried cooking kale before, give it a try. I think you'll like it. Try this technique, or you can, you know, do various variations on this recipe. I think you'll like it. Until next time, get out there, get at it, have fun in your garden. Thanks for watching.